Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad to hear this morning. We've got a special guest here in Studio B, and we're glad to be here. Weather, first of all, it looks like it's going to be good week the rest of this week. It looks like it's going to be a good week next week. Not a lot of rain coming in, but we're going to hopefully get back to the October that we know and love. High today is going to be 87. We don't love that. Below 62, and water temperature is still staying right at 79 degrees, taken off the pier. River reading brought to us by Mountain Dew. Get out and do. We're looking at a 6.5 on Apalachicola. Just pretty good shape on that river, looking really good right now. And the Choctaw-Caryville, Choctawhatchee River right there, jumped up a little bit from that rain over the weekend, or latter part of the week, and it bumped up. It's dropping back down. It's at a 7.4, so it got a little steady drop to it. Now, a tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Good strong tides today and the rest of the week, really. High tide is right now. It's going to be around 7 o'clock, and low tide is going to be at 4:29, so it's going to be going out all day. And the wind is still a little strong there. It'll be coming out of northwest at about 10. So be aware of that if you get out on open water. We're going to take our break, come back with our special guest. Welcome back, folks, and look who our guest is this morning, Studio B, Steve Shea.
Good to be here, COVID fist bump.
All right, buddy. I know we've been talking about it. You've been doing all kind of things. So
yeah.
What's been going on?
It's been a crazy summer. Well, you know, with COVID, everyone's life's upside down, but
yes.
Those of us that like the outdoor sports, there's still opportunity to get out there and do our thing. So I've done tons of fishing this summer now.
You have sent me a bunch of pictures, and you have done a bunch of fishing.
Yeah.
So you've really had your social distancing.
Yeah, sure have. You just got to trust a few people that are on your boat.
Yeah,
Make
true.
sure that they're COVID free.
We're gonna we got so many pictures to get to. We got all kinds of things to talk about. We're gonna talk about fishing the first part of the show, and then we're gonna talk about hunting the second part. But again, we have some new viewers. Sort of give your basic background, your outdoor background, how you got in outdoors.
Okay, yeah, I'm a certified wildlife biologist. That's what I do for a living. I've been doing that 35 years here out of Panama City area, but I run my own private wildlife consulting business now. Primarily the work I do is I manage a lot of big ranches all across the southeast for deer, turkey, other game species. Do a lot of alligator work. I do all the work for the Louis Vuitton company on their alligator farm. So all game management, basically, what I do now, which is a lot of fun.
He's got a job you love going to every day.
Yes, sir.
I know and it's different every day. So
different all the time. Sure is.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And we got all kinds of things we talked about too, about track and everything. And he still got some school records in track.
Yeah, still do. Still have some after that long.
And I used to coach track till we started coaching. But anyway, this is an outdoor show, so let's look at some of these pictures. I got them on my phone here, and we're going to get them on the show. So let's tell us about what all you got here.
Yeah, this is, like I said, had a great red snapper season this year. This particular photo is a day catch. Me and my buddy went out. There's three of us went out, caught our limited red snapper. Then you try to catch whatever other species that are in season. So we pick up red grouper and have to turn back a lot. But we got into some vermilions, and so we'd have a good mixed bag every time we went out.
And what does you caught this? This is a good size one here.
Yeah, this is a good size. This is kind of top end red snapper we catch. We're fishing mostly hard bottom sites. I like to stay away from the point source artificial sites. They get outfished very quickly. Yeah. So I map hard bottom. And then depending on the wind, I kind of know where I can do my drift, and we'll catch all kinds of fish. So
how much that one weigh?
He's 25-pound class, I think.
Ooh, well, what about this one?
That's a friend of mine, Bruce Cooper. He's the former regional commander here with the FWC. He and I fish quite a bit, and that's a big blackfin tuna that we caught when we were out fishing for red snapper this summer. So there's some of those out there too. So
see, people don't realize there's nice blackfin tuna.
Oh yeah, yeah. And there was a good wahoo run. I mean, I had hooked up on some king rigs, not expecting wahoo, and the wahoo would just straighten those hooks right out. So, but there's some of those around this summer as well.
Yeah, they're fun. And what about this one?
Yeah, it's a big triggerfish. Any of you guys who are out triggerfish fishing this summer, Man, there's a pile of them. The big thing is you got to find those schools with larger fish. A lot of them are just undersized, but we were catching some that were, over 18 inches, good size ones. What I find is those fish tend to be a little more loner, not in those big schools, so you catch them up off those hard bottom. I got some regions of hard bottom where there's a lot of big triggerfish of that size. So.
Well, that's interesting. So like the big buck, they're going to be loners. Yeah. That's interesting. And
yeah, that's another fish, another trigger.
Okay. Whoa, what happened here?
I tell you what, we had probably more problems with sharks this summer than I ever have. I mean, there's certain places that 50% of our hookups we'd lose to sharks, so we'd have to relocate just to get away from them. But there's a series of photos here that show, I mean, we were reeling up red snapper just ahead, even triggerfish. Usually, I find sharks will shy a little bit from triggerfish. They like the other fish that are more palatable, but they were hammering those triggerfish too. So
they were hungry.
Yeah, so I've noticed every year it seems like sharks become more of a problem. I don't know if it's.
We got, like I say, a series of pictures. Yep. Wow, that's a triggerfish.
Yeah, triggerfish. Yep. Yeah.
Well, as a wildlife biologist, what do you think the reason for the sharks getting more numerous?
I don't know. I mean, you hear that sharks are in trouble, but I couldn't tell by some of the areas I was fishing, and it may be where we're fishing at too. Of course, those sharks are going to concentrate where there's forage fish, which is around wrecks and structure, and on hard bottom areas that concentrate the prey base. That's where they're at. So we're trying to compete or fish in areas where the sharks are going to be at a higher density. So it just comes with the turf,
You lost some big ones, you think?
Oh yeah, we lost some big ones. We had some issues with. Well, we go into some night pictures later. We got into some those Goliath grouper.
Yeah.
We were fishing some nighttime fishing for vermilion, and you'll have some issues with Goliath during the day, but at night magnify that by 10 because they just come out of those big structures and wrecks. And we'd move from one place on the wreck to another trying to get away from them. But if you have 3 big Goliath on what this. It just is what it is. They'll take every single fish you get, everyone.
All right, by the next picture, what we got?
Oh, that's a decent size, just average size red snapper that we were catching this summer. Yeah. Like I said, we got into them pretty good. We catch a lot of vermilions as well. This is my friend Patrick Delaney. He's a biologist with Deseret Ranches. We've been out fishing some, and so you get a lot of that bycatch, which is good bycatch when you get those vermilions because they're great eating. And that's kind of a box full. That's a morning.
Box. You better get a full box.
Yeah, but we got into some red snapper on some of this hard bottom, Winston. Unbelievable. I mean, we would in an hour and a half we'd put 50 to 60 fish in the boat. Of course, release once you get 2 apiece. But we're trying to catch other species, red grouper. But I mean, just the numbers of snappers that I found was just tremendous this summer. Yeah.
Wow, that's good to hear. And
then other bycatch we get into mangroves, so you'd pick up some mangroves as well, and a decent sized one. This is kind of average size. We catch them a lot bigger than that.
Yeah.
That's a good size. More red snapper. That's Patrick Delaney, and big triggerfish. I mean, I found this year I don't know if it was just how I was fishing, but it was easier for me to find big triggers this year versus last year.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a good.
Yeah, that's a typical day out for us. 4 hours out. And,
that's great.
That's my friend Eric Richardson and his daughter with a big triggerfish she caught when we were out.
Awesome. And then, we'll talk about. Let's take a break. We'll come back and talk about this night fishing because that is exciting.
Oh yeah.
We'll be right back. Welcome back, folks. Here with Steve Bay, wildlife biologist with 35 years experience, and he loves the outdoors.
I sure do.
He get paid for working in outdoors.
Yep, it's nice when your recreation time, you do the same thing for work and get to be paid for it. So
that's great.
That's a good thing.
We love having Steve on the show, and even though we're on Studio B and the technology not quite as how you like Studio B? It's different.
It's a lot hotter than it is in the studio, that's for sure.
We got to talk to our air conditioning people. Yeah, that's true. Look, we're talking about night fishing. Let's jump on this picture here and tell. When you go night fishing, what time do y'all go?
We usually go out, just before it gets dark, so you can kind of get set up during the daylight hours. And then as soon as it gets dark, we'll start with a chum bag. And it's best to fish over structure. Offshore, any of these artificial reefs, wrecks that we have offshore, there's a lot of vermilion snapper on them, black snapper if you get out, over 120 foot. And the thing is, you don't catch them during the daytime. They're there, you'll catch a few, but at nighttime, it just comes alive. And so we'll just chum them up to the top and start catching them. I mean, it'll be easy. It's easy to limit out on vermilion.
So you're just chumming them up to the top.
Chumming them up to the top, yep. And but we were just talking earlier, the Goliath grouper also get very active, and so you're constantly competing with Goliaths and sharks when you nighttime fish because they become more predatory and active at night as well. But it's fun. I mean, it really is fun night fishing. So.
I still talk about going on those 25-hour trips with Captain Bobo Hobbs, and that's why we would fish at night. It was just another world out there.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
See all kind of jellyfish and all kind of colors and everything.
And in my boat, I have the underwater lights, so to light up, and so you'll start attracting bait fish and shrimp around the boat, which actually helps as natural chum. So
that's cool. That's cool. We'll have to go and film a show one time. I got it. We got some more now. What about this one?
Yeah, it's a lot of people say that they've not seen a lot of red grouper, but we've caught a lot of red grouper. But we're fishing hard bottom sites where you're going to catch them. The size of the fish aren't that big, but you catch a lot of legal size red snapper on some of that hard bottom sites.
That's interesting about the red grouper because I have heard that too.
Yeah.
So y'all did have some success with it.
Yeah.
Okay?
And then, once red snapper season goes out, then you say, okay, we want to go fish, but what is there to fish? So we'll just search around for places, certain sites I have there's a lot of white snapper on.
So that's a good mess right there.
And then some red grouper, some vermilion. So, there's still, even when our harvest limits are very restrictive, there's always enough fish out there for you to get a good mess and have a good bunch to catch and have a good fish fry. So
that's cool. Now, who you got fishing with you right here?
Oh, that's my grandson, Eli Newsom. He loves to go, and we were out during the triggerfish season, and he was enjoying pulling them up. And here he is. He's got a broke arm. he broke it in the schoolyard, so I was having to help him get the fish up because he couldn't bend his arm. So that was a challenge.
That's gonna be a memory now. We went fishing with a broke arm.
Yeah,
that's cool. And that was okay. We showed that one. So.
Oh yeah, this is a trip. This is a picture of a big black drum I caught. We went recently over to Louisiana to trout fish, and if you move on, this is a big black drum that I caught fishing for redfish. We didn't get into redfish, but I'll tell you what, the trout, unbelievable over there. That's just a morning's catch right there. There's a 25 fish daily bag limit in Louisiana, and we caught 100 in 2 hours. We caught 100 fish, 4 of us, and it's just incredible. The fishery in the Delta, it's such a productive marsh. I mean, when you're used to fishing in Bay County and our bays here, and you go over there, it's just eye-opening. I mean, shrimp popping the surface everywhere. I mean, it's just crazy productive. And it shows up in the fishery as well. So that was a fun trip.
And y'all were going to have a big fish fry, or like a little fundraiser kind of fish fry?
Yeah, we're gonna do a benefit fish fry with these fish. That's why we kept them on.
That's how you do it. You just catch a bunch of them.
This was my local guide, my friend Jan White. Any of you locals that go to that Cajun place over on the beach, Jan and his wife Trudy own that restaurant, and they're Louisianans. They got displaced from Hurricane Katrina. And so they've been here ever since. We got to be friends with him since that storm, and we went over there, and his family guided us to all these trout that trip. So
cool. So you had sort of an inside track. That's nice.
We had we had local knowledge is always a good deal.
That Cajun place. That's interesting.
Yeah, this is back big triggerfish we catching this summer.
Okay, so that's quite a few fishing pictures.
Yeah, like I told those guys with those trout when we went to Louisiana, I said, this trout will never see that many, my boat will never see that many trout in it again.
Wow.
Because I said I'd have to fish every day for 2 months to get that many fish in my boat with the limits in Florida. So,
well, you're right. We're talking about Louisiana. I fished out there, and had a lot of friends go out there, and those marsh areas, it's like a feeding, like a buffet. And that's why it's a sportsman paradise, I guess, in that area.
Yeah, and the fish do the same thing as they do here. They, they go offshore in the Gulf, during the warm season, and then in the cold season to thermoregulate, they come inland. And so we caught them in transition, so it wasn't easy. But once we figured it out, we got into the fish.
And the transition period is when?
It's right now. In the summertime, they're out off different structure and shelves and flats right along the Gulf. There it's shallow water for miles and miles off Louisiana. Louisiana. It's not like here. So the fish are offshore in the Gulf in shallow water during the summertime, and then they'll come into the estuaries during the winter, just like they do here.
Okay.
So
the same pattern we have here.
Yeah.
They're coming in to the estuaries.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's good to see that. All right. Now we're have some hunting stories and pictures coming up. So we're going to take a final break. We'll be right back with some hunting stories with Steve Shea. Welcome back, folks. Glad you're with us in here with Steve Shea. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about. But first, let's look at our fishing game times today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers down in Port St. Joe. I was down this past weekend. Everyone's doing well, and business is booming. I'm there. I mean, they're just grinning from ear to ear.
Yep.
So anyway, the times are 8:51 to 10:51 this morning, and tonight 9:18 until 11:18. And Steve, you started this organization, or you helped on this organization, but you started here locally. Share the Harvest. Tell us about it. This is a good deal.
Yeah, Florida Hunters for the Hungry is a program that Tracy Grevert, who's down in Tampa area, and I started last year. So this is the second full season. A lot of hunters have heard about Hunters for the Hungry programs in other states. Florida was just a little late getting it going. This is our second full season. The Deer Shack here locally, Cody Behrens is participating in taking deer. One thing we're doing different this year, Winston, is last year people were just donating a portion of their harvest, which we still want you to do that. But now I've fundraised about $5,000 for local donors, and we'll actually pay. You drop a deer or hog off, we'll pay for all the processing. And all the meat goes to different Christian ministries, food banks here in Bay County.
Yeah.
So last year we did about 2,500 pounds of meat.
Yeah.
We're hoping we can do 5,000, and all the meat goes to those in need in Bay County. And it's still, you wouldn't think 2 years after Hurricane Michael, there's still people living in trailers.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that benefit from this program, and this is a way us as hunters can do our part in helping the community. So.
That is such an awesome thing to do. We're always talking about helping people out, and if people don't, if they're not going to shoot a deer or a hog, they still can donate some money to help pay for the processing.
Yep.
So, and how do they just get a hold of you? We got it here on the poster. So look at the poster, and then you can win a certificate of C&G and.
Yeah, we have like anyone that donates. If you donate a couple packs of meat, you get a chance to win a $300 gift certificate at C&G Sporting Goods. If you donate a whole deer or hog, you get 3 chances, and people love that. I mean, then you get a phone call tomorrow, say, "Hey, here's your gift certificate. Go buy what you want."
Oh, that's cool.
So it's just a little incentive to get people to donate.
Win-win.
Yeah,
all right,
sure
listen, we got a couple of deer pictures. We don't have many of the fishing pictures as we do. But look, tell us about this big buck here.
Oh yeah, I do a lot of deer camera surveys in both all across the country, really, but Midwest and Florida. These are some bucks that off my cameras up in Missouri. This is about 150-inch 8-point, which any 8-point that gets 150 inches is a big deer. But this next picture, this deer, I hunted him last year, and I call him Houdini because he's a scape artist. I haven't even seen him during daytime, but he's about 180-inch 14-point. Nice deer. And a lot of hunters, and I use them as well. Once, if you go to the next photo, those Spy Point and Spartan cameras that link to your phones, and they'll send you pictures as they trigger the camera. Those things are great. This is a photograph. He's about 150-inch 12-point with split G1s, and I recently got this photo on my phone up in Missouri. But it gives you instantaneous intel on bucks on the property. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
The camera survey. A lot of people, a lot of hunters use them now. Just about everyone does. But I do a lot of camera surveys on ranches, and it tells you more about what's going on with your deer population than about anything you can do, because it's working for you 24 hours a day. So those are just some of the few pictures.
So you just document everything what's going on.
This time of year, I'm sitting 12 hours a day. I'm sitting in front of a computer doing photo analysis.
No kidding.
Yeah, so that's one of the big things I do for ranchers. And then I go present to them, what their age structure is. These are your shooter bucks. These are your management bucks. And you can tell all that from the photographs. So.
How looking at these bucks here, what's the ages of let's say this one?
Well, that deer's a 3.5-year-old buck.
3.5, and that one.
He may be. He's probably 4.5. I would say that buck is.
And in your experience, the lifespan usually in the wild, what's the lifespan?
Well, it all depends on hunting pressure.
Well, yeah.
But a lot of clubs here in Florida that are under quality deer management, they'll have like a 3.5-year-old cutoff. So once the deer's 3.5 years old, he'll have antler size that would meet their minimum.
Yeah.
Like the club I hunt with, we wait till they're 4.5. Most of the guys do. Some guys will shoot them younger.
Yeah.
But when I hunt in Missouri, I've got to the point where I'll just pick the top 3 bucks on the property, and those are the only deer I'll hunt.
Okay.
And so usually they'll be 160 to and above. So. But it's different everywhere. In Florida, you're not going to grow those kind of deer. It's interesting. I just saw a photograph from Deseret Ranch down in South Florida that they killed one that was grossed over 160, which is a giant deer for Florida.
Huge for South Florida.
So if you do everything right, do good harvest management, habitat man, you can grow some decent deer in Florida. Sure can.
And they've got large acreage, so they could pretty well can, do you still have the record for Gulf County, the biggest book?
Yep.
Sure
do.
What did that one score?
It grossed 150 and 1/8. No, 150 and 7/8 is grossed, and it netted 141 and 7/8.
That was right there in a while.
That's all just natural habitat.
Yeah.
River swamp deer, basically.
River swamp. I remember when that happened and all. We were just in awe of it.
Yeah.
Okay, look, we're talking about, a lot about food plots and all, and about, planting them in with so how do y'all handle your food plots?
Yeah, well, the Hurricane Sally really set us back. We, like I said, we got 23 inches of rain in 3 days. Well, everything's so wet, it's almost untillable right now. Even now it is, especially over in Gulf County where I hunt. We were able to get our mowing done. Most of the time you want to get your mowing done around the 1st of October, so you're not going to get a lot of grow back on your roads. And I like to plant my plots in first half of October.
Okay.
You got to get that soil temperature down for the oats and wheat mixes and annuals to do well. But if you're delayed, it really doesn't matter. Our season's so long. Our rut in this area is not until late January. So if you get your plots in, even 1st of November, they're still going to be up plenty good for the opener of the gun season in Thanksgiving.
It's good to hear because a lot of people, they don't necessarily procrastinate. They just get so tied up with the hurricanes and all kinds of stuff. And it's a lot of people are sort of like me. We just ain't got it done yet.
Yeah, and usually what the problem people have now, the soil's so wet, but October is one of the driest months of the year. So people plant their food plots and then we don't get any rain. So what I like to do is till it and have it ready to plant, and then just wait till you forecast to get rain or rain, so you have that good soil moisture. So then it'll germinate, and then just pray for rain after that.
Well, we gotta start getting out of here. We gotta wrap it up. Thank you, Steve, so much. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Winston.
All right. Thank y'all for Panhandle Outdoors. See y'all tomorrow. Do something good for your fellow man. God bless.
God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.